As you know that client are now demanding because as you also know that project are complicated because technology has been developed, and that is why clients are more demanding. Clients are more demanding on the higher performance requirement. Um, for example, the IT requirement. Yeah, as you know that the technology has been developed and advanced, so as the requirement from the client, and the faster product development. So, as I mentioned just now, as time goes by, the advancement of the technology is also developed, and that is why people are moving faster, and client want the project or the product to be developed as soon as possible. Yeah. So, and also the high technology level, material and processes push to the limit, uh, the lower contractor profit margins. Low contractor profit margin means the client wants to save money. Yeah, so the client will select the best contractor with probably the optimum cost. Yeah, not the minimum cost, but the best cost of the project. All right, and therefore, because of that, the contractor will also reduce on the profit margin. And clients are also demanding on the fewer defects because will cause cost. So if you have a lot of defect, therefore the project will suffer in terms of the cost. So all these is related to the sorry is related to the quality. Yeah, so quality will not be jeopardized if the project proceeds, no matter what happened in terms of the time, cost, of scope. Quality must be maintained as what to the client wants, or to the client's specification or requirement. Okay, in project life cycle, we start with the initiation, and then we have planning stage, and then the project starts to kick off, where this is the construction stage or execution stage, and then during the execution stage, where this is the monitoring and the control activity starts, or start to play its roles. And once the project completed, then we have to close the project accordingly. Yeah. So during the planning, we have to plan for the quality. So in planning the time, the cost, the resources, the uh, or other planning, you also have to include quality planning during the planning stage. And during the execution stage, we have to consider the quality assurance. Quality assurance means how you have to make sure that the execution of the project is according to the specification. And during the performance or monitoring, if there is any defect occurs, or you find any defect during the project, for example, defect on the concrete, therefore you have to find a solution to make sure that the project or the material or the product will be according to the client specification. So these are the process that we are going to learn in this course. Okay, so we start with the quality planning, and then we move on to the quality assurance, and then we are going to look into quality control. So these are the three main process in the quality management. Okay, In PMBOK or Project Management Book of Knowledge, which you have learned during your semester 4 in construction management, already indicated uh, what are the knowledge areas in the PMBOK. Okay, so according to PMBOK, we have 10 areas for project management. Yeah. So one of for example, the integration management, the scope management, schedule, procurement, stakeholder, risk, communication, resource, quality, and cost management. So here, one of the PMBOK knowledge area highlighted quality management. Okay, so it shows that how quality is very important in any project, no matter whether it is a construction project or it is a manufacturing or whether it is in IT project or in other discipline as well. But quality management is to make sure that the client requirement will should be abide and meet the requirement. Okay, so these are one of the knowledge area in the project management book of knowledge. Okay, in the PMBOK, in the quality management process, the knowledge area of quality management, the project quality management consists of plan quality management, manage quality, and control quality. Plan quality is where quality management plan and quality baseline were established during the first stage. Yeah, so it requires the input, the tools and techniques, and also the output. So, but the ultimately the output of the plan quality management is to produce the quality management plan and also the quality baseline. And the second one, managing quality, also includes the input, the tools, and also the output. Okay, so uh, finally, what the output during managed quality is to produce the requested changes or recommended corrective action. Okay, so and the last one is control quality. Consists of the same input, tools, and output. But finally, the under control quality requires the quality control measurement and also the defect repair. Okay, so this is the output that you need to produce at the end of each process. Yeah, so plan quality management is the planning process, manage quality is the executing process, and quality control is the controlling process. Okay. Okay, so today we are going to look into the first process, which is the plan quality management, or we call it as the quality planning. Okay, what is quality planning? Quality planning is the method of deciding what is the most important to the project. So it means before the project execute, you need to know what do you want in the project? What do you want at the end of the project? What do you want to produce at the end of the project, and how you want to achieve the quality as what the client want. Okay, and the quality planning is also the quality process that is performed during planning phase to accomplish two things. One is to identify which quality standards to be used during the project, and also to determine how to satisfy these standards. It means that you have to identify the quality specification first, plus with the how to meet the specification, and these two are the project planning. Okay, so before the project starts, you need to have these two goals first. Okay. Now, why is project planning is important? Okay, quality is planned from the start and not inspected in after the project has been constructed. Okay, it means that during the planning stage, you need to identify what are the standards to be used and how to achieve the quality that the client wants. Okay, and not when you have started the work, when you have executed the project, then only you start to inspect what is the product, and there will be a lot of defects. And as you know, when there's a lot of defects, there will increase a lot of cost as well. Okay, and decision made about quality can have a significant impact on other decisions such as scope, time, cost, and also risk. That is why quality planning is being done during the planning stage. Okay, because it will give a great impact to scope, time, cost, and risk if it was not done properly. And quality planning is performed to make sure that the result producing is acceptable quality. Okay, that is why it is important. We need to plan first before we can have what we want at the end of the project. Okay, um, as you can see here, quality planning consists of the input, the tools and techniques, and also the output. Okay, we are going to go through this one by one. Okay, we are going to look into the input first, then I'm going to discuss on the tools and techniques, and then we are going to see what are the outputs that um, that the plan quality management or the planning quality planning stage requires. These are the inputs of quality planning. All right. So all these are the inputs like what I mentioned just now. So the first one is input means what are the data that you need to produce the quality management plan. Okay. For example, you need the cost baseline. The cost baseline is where you find out how much money you want to spend or you can spend. Okay, so how much is your budget? So that is the cost baseline. And then the schedule baseline is how much available for quality activities. So it shows what are the schedule of the project. Okay, what are the activities? What are the activities consist in the project, and how long will the activities takes place? And also the scope. The scopes are the what are the list of deliverables, and also what are the quality. Yeah, what are the scope? Basically, what is the scope of the project? Okay, so these are the project performance baseline. Okay, consists of the cost baseline, the schedule baseline, and also the scope baseline. All right. So besides than this, we also have the stakeholder register. Stakeholder means the people that affect by your project. Okay, affected by your project. So you need to list out who is the person or the people that involved in the project, whether involved negatively or positively. Yeah. So you must know what are their interests and what are their requirement to the project. For example, one of the stakeholder is uh, the local authority. Yeah. So you must know what is the interest of the local authority, or you need to know what are the client's interests. Yeah. And besides than that, you also register the risks that involve. So in order for you to register, you need to identify what are the risks that will involve in the project, and you register them. Register also means that once you have identified the risks, you need to evaluate the risks, whether you can minimize them or you can eliminate them or mitigate them. Yeah. So the risk involved is also the input to the quality planning stage. Yeah. And then the enterprise environmental factor. These are the government rules or regulation. For example, the local authority. For example, the federal, such as JKR, PWD, yeah, or JPS, or other government bodies that stated what are the rules and regulation at the area or vicinity of your project. So you have to abide with the rules and regulation. So this is also one of the input in project quality planning. And last but not least is the organizational process asset. These are the what are the company quality policy that you need to know, and how can you make sure this project follow the company policy. Yeah, for example, company's policy, you cannot work more than 8 p.m. So you have to abide with the company's policy. Or the company's policy says that um, during Hari Raya, you cannot work 2 weeks. Okay, 1 week before Hari Raya, another 1 week after Hari Raya. So you have to abide with the policy. Okay, so these are all the input data that you need to have before you start with the analysis, or before you start using the tools and techniques, and then you can come up with the quality management plan. Okay, so the next one is tools and techniques used for quality planning. Okay, what are the tools? It is a very simple tools, which are cost benefit analysis, benchmarking, design of experiments, cost of quality, control chart, cause and effect diagrams, check sheet. These are additional tools. For example, check sheet, histogram, in fact, Pareto chart also being used during the quality planning. Okay, so I'm going to um, give you some introduction on a few of these tools and techniques that is beneficial during quality planning. Okay, so I'm sure some of you know what is cost benefit analysis, but if you don't know, let me just show you some example of what does it mean by cost benefit analysis. Okay, for example, if you have a proposed system, probably you want to develop a software. Okay, software. So you need a hardware and the software and the personnel and the maintenance and the cost at the year end and the cumulative cost. And these are the cost, proposed costs. Year one, year two, year three, year four until year five. And when you have accumulate this, you find that your proposed cost of to build that system is 154,000 ringgit. And if you do the benefit cost, yeah, you find from finish report, increase in sale, benefit at end year, and if you cumulate them, you can find it 300,000 ringgit. So what is cost benefit analysis means is the profit. Okay, profit means the benefit minus the cumulative cost of the cost. You find that 300 minus 154, you will get about 146,000 ringgit. So that are the profit. So since we are gaining this figure, yeah, instead of losing it, so this system is feasible. So, in other words, cost benefit analysis is how much your quality activities will cost versus how much you will gain from doing them. Okay, so these are the cost benefit analysis. So, these are one of the tools or techniques that you can use for quality planning to make sure whether you can achieve the quality. Yeah. Okay. Next one is benchmarking. Benchmarking is the using the results of plan. Okay, for example, you have the previous project. For example, in year 2019, you have a project, and during the project, you find out that you can reduce 20% defect in your project. Yeah, so it is good, right? So by having that process, by having that improve, that beneficial, yeah, reducing the 20% of defect, and you can learn and put it in practice for your future project. For example, you want to build another project in this year 2022, and you can use the what you can use and whatever you have learned during the previous project to put it in practice to give a great improvement to the current project. Okay, so that is the benchmarking. Benchmarking means you bring forward, you bring whatever you have learned, the mistakes that you have learned to the future project, so that your future project will give um, uh, will be better than the previous project. Okay, the next one is design of experiment. Design of experiment is the scientific method. For example, if you want to make sure that during the construction stage, your concrete strength or your concrete grade is as what required in the specification. So what you do is you need to um, apply the scientific method. For example, what tests need to be conducted? Yeah. So what is the slump test, and how much is the slump test that you can accept, and what can you reject? And if you want to do the compressive strength test, you also need to have what can you accept, what results can you accept. Okay, so and you need to do statistical method. Okay, so for example, you can have the formula to determine how much can be rejected or how much can be accepted. Yeah, so this will help during the construction stage. Okay, so meaning to say you already make it clear that your concrete strength need to be in this um, uh, numbers. Okay, how many numbers can be rejected, or how many numbers have the lower value that you can reject, and how many numbers that you can accept, for example. Yeah, so that the design of experiment means that you need to design your methods before your project starts. Okay, so that is what design of experiment means. Okay, last class we already talked about cost of quality. All right, cost of quality, you have two. One is a cost of good quality, and one is the poor cost of poor quality. So the cost of good quality is prevention and appraisal cost, while the cost of poor quality is internal failure or external failure. Prevention cost means the cost that you need to conduct the quality planning, the supplier evaluation, the new product review, error proving, capabilities evaluation, quality improvement team meetings, quality improvement project, education and training, yeah, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so these are the costs that you need to provide in order to prevent the defects, right? Uh, and once defect were found, therefore you have to spend time for writing standards, reviewing documents, meeting to analyze the root cause of defect, and also rework to fix the defects. Right? So these are time spent. So these are the time spent, and when time are spent, it also include the cost. Okay, so that is why you need also to bear in mind of the cost of quality. Okay, next is the control chart. Okay, control chart usually being done to figure out which processes might be having a quality problem. Okay, like I mentioned just now, the strength of quality. Okay, you want to measure the performance of the concrete grade that are done over and over, right? So probably one batch of concrete, you want to do 3 or 5 times, right? So when you do that, you want to see what are the range that can be acceptable. So this is the you can use control chart to define the acceptable limits. All right. So for example, you have the upper limits and the lower limits. Okay. So your concrete strength must be in these limits. It cannot be out from the limit. Yeah. So if it out from the limit, then you have to do something. Something is not right. Okay. Something is not right. Maybe because of the mixing of the concrete. Yeah. So you have to make sure that all the strength must be in this range of control. This is what we call control chart. Okay, and in establishing the control chart, the range, you need the statistical process. All right, it is not just draw. Yeah, you must have the figure to draw the range. All right, and keep the process within the control limit. So if this is your strength of the concrete, that means your strength of the concrete must be in this range. Okay. Okay, so enough with the tools and techniques. And now let's look at the output of quality planning. So meaning to say you during the input, yeah, input means you have all the data, like I mentioned just now, and then together with the tools and techniques, you use it to come out with the quality plan management. Okay. The quality management plan is the main tool for preventing defect on your project. So by having the data and you have analyzed and you have figured out what type of tools to be used, and you can come up with the quality management plan. It's a document. It's a document that you will use it during the construction stage to make sure that your quality of all activities or material is within the requirement or within the specification. Okay, so these are the main output of plan quality, right? So for example, you need to have a matrix, schedule variance, how much you need, what are the goal, is it less than 5%, and what are the rationale, how you want to do it. Okay, these are all during planning stage because construction has not started yet. So you have to assume, you have to figure out how you want to make sure that the quality will be achieved according to your client's specification, right? So it is a sub plan of the project management plan, right? And also you have to come up with a checklist. So what are the checklists? What are the inspection items that you have to check during the construction stage? All right. So, for example, on the material, what is the when will the material arrive? What is the quality? What are the grade of the material? And how do you inspect for each activity of the construction? Okay, by having the checklist, it actually helps people head off mistake that might cause defect. All right, so this is a very good uh, items, yeah, or items to be used during the construction because not everyone can remember what to do next. All right, so with having the checklist, it can help people to remember and to be aligned with the planning, quality planning. Yeah. And by having the checklist also, you can avoid common errors, especially when you have new staff coming into the project, and you can he or she can use the checklist for guidance. Yeah. Checklists can also be used for inspecting products to be sure that they are display specific characteristics. So it means that checklists can make sure or can help the engineer or the project manager to ensure that the quality that you want will be achieved at the end of the construction. Okay, the next output is the process improvement plan. It is a plan for improving the process you are using to do the work. Okay, so it means that have to come up with the strategies to finding inefficiency and places where the way you work your work might be slowing you down or creating a low quality product. So you have to come out with a plan how to improve your process. Yeah. So for example, if you during the construction you find out that there is a defect on the for example honeycomb defect, yeah, at the one of the column, yeah, you find out there is a defect of honeycomb. So you have to come out with the plan how to you have to recognize the cause, the root cause of the problem. You have to analyze, identify, and you have to redesign the process to make sure, and also to implement them, communicate them, and implement them so that you can see and you monitor the review the process improvement. Yeah. So you have to find out what are the process need to be improved, and you have to monitor the process, and you can if the honeycomb defect still occurs, you need to redesign the process so that until the defect eliminates, okay, or until there is no longer honeycomb defect. Okay, then you can you can proceed with the other activities. Okay, so these are the process improvement plan. Improvement plan uh, um, is the purpose of process improvement plan is to make sure that if you find a defect, you know how to improve the process, or you want how to eliminate the defect by improve the process. And then the quality metrics. Okay, quality metrics, for example, what are the defect rate, how much or how many percent that you allow for defect, what are the quality control, the service quality, the failure rate of the, for example, the concrete strength, yeah, user rating, and how does your customer satisfy. So these are the metrics. Metrics means you have to establish the measurement of each of your activities so that you can figure out how to improve it in future. Okay, for example, if you are running a project to install windows in a skyscraper and 50% of them have been reinstalled because they were broken. Okay, so that is an important metrics. Metrics means you allow how many percent does it that the window can break. Yeah, and you can probably you said only 15% that you can reinstall. Uh, Above that will cost you a lot of money. Yeah, so that is what it means by quality metrics. Yeah, so you probably want to work with your company to bring that number down. So maybe you can reduce from 50% to 10%. and later you can bring it down to 5%, or maybe you can eliminate to 0%. Okay, so once you know how to reduce the number of defect, you need to write down the formula. Formula means what are the method that you find out that you can reduce the defect. Okay, and why, when you will do the measurement, why you are taking them, and how you will interpret them. Okay, so that is quality metrics. If you don't have quality metrics, uh, you cannot figure out whether you want to accept or reject a material or an activity. Yeah, so there must be numbers. So that numbers is what we call as a quality matrix. And another output is the project document updates. Okay, so document updates means once you have found out that uh, new information during quality planning, and it will affect a lot, it will affect other planning. For example, during planning stage, you need to plan for scope, you need to plan for requirement, cost, quality, human resource, communication, stakeholder, cost baseline, schedule baseline, scope baseline, process improvement, procurement management plan, risk management plan. All these plan you will do during the planning stage. And one of the activities or are the quality management plan. So if you find out that there is a new information on the quality management plan, which are maybe to reduce the defect, then you have to communicate this formula or this method or this process to other planning, yeah, to other section of planning during the management stage, during the planning stage. Okay, so that is why we call it as the updates. You updates everyone in other sectors or in other department that are doing other planning, about what you have found out or a new information in the quality management plan. Okay, I think that's all on quality planning. So